But I want to share some other power thinking tools with you. Next is idea mapping or mind mapping. By a show of hands, how many people are familiar with this strategy? Anybody ever used it? Did they really use it? How many people really use it? Raise your hands high so I can see. Okay, what types of things do you use it for, sir?
I have books. I read books.
So it's accelerated learning, right? It really helps you look at the ideas. So we have what we have in here in marketing. This is called a third-party endorsement, testimonial, right? He's a testimonial. I'm just sharing with the next step, but he's giving me some feedback on why mind mapping is important. So here's what mind mapping or idea mapping is good for. You can see it on the screens. Brainstorming, creative thinking, project planning, note-taking, note-making, any type of meeting that you're going to be in where you're going to take a lot of information, take a lot of notes, I highly recommend you learn and you practice this strategy called idea mapping. Now, we're not going to have enough time because it's a short seminar to go through a lot of how to actually do this in the exercise, a real action step. So I encourage you to do this on your own. But I want you to think about this process when you do it. How many people remember driving a car for the first time? What was that experience like? I mean, actually turning the key and all the other, what was it like? It was exciting? Scary. How many of you started on a stick shift? Was that challenging or what? You know, I gotta keep my foot on the gas, keep the engine up enough, get pushed in the clutch. Which one's the clutch? The one in the middle, the one on the south side? Okay, boom, 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 boom. And you do that a few times, right? That's the same way it's going to feel when you start working with idea mapping. Now, when you drive to work, I've seen some of you. You're putting on your makeup, you're shaving, you're putting on your tie, you're putting on your pants, you're doing your hair, you're doing everything, you're reading, you're eating, you got your cell phone in one ear, and you got your Palm Pilot in the other hand, and you're driving with your kneecap, and you're just, you know. So you can do a lot more things now than you could when you first started. That's the same as creativity. Creativity can be learned. These are tools. Like any good craftsman, you're going to have to use your tools more often to become more skilled at it. So don't write off this skill as being not important until you've really tried it enough times. Now, I use mind mapping for all different types of things. I use it for client meetings. I do it for presentations. I do it for reading a book like this gentleman or listening to a tape set. I've got a few of my mind maps here in the front. I was reading this book, which is a great book, by the way, if you want to think a great resource, because we're moving on to some of the marketing stuff, but if you want a great resource on creativity, this is one of the best books I've found. Little bitty paperback book called Aha. You get it on Amazon or any of your local bookstores. It's Aha by Jordan Ayan, or Ann. It's A-Y-A-N. I don't know how to pronounce it. A-Y-A-N, Jordan, A-Y-N. It's called Aha. 10 Ways to Free Your Creative Spirit and Find Your Great Ideas. A great little book. I've dog-eared the corners. But what I did was, instead of having to read the whole book over and over again, is I created mind maps. And now I can take a look at this one page, and I have a great idea on how the whole thing works. And I've got a couple other pages and a couple other mind maps from other things that I've used. And I tell you, I can look at one page, and immediately I know, a 120-page book I can read in 3 minutes, and I have the key points. So mind mapping is accelerated learning. It helps you get more done, helps give you more time, it helps you be clear on what you're trying to accomplish. So that's the main thing. Now, the benefits of mind mapping is it uses your brain more effectively, it increases your concentration, your creativity. It just does a wild amount of things, because here's why. Your brain doesn't follow linear thought at most times. Most of the time, it's sparking all over the place, just like today. Think about the hour that you've been in here today. Some of you thought about your grocery list and your kid in school and what do you have to do later. It's going to happen. Your mind's going to wander. That's normal. That's why mind mapping is so effective, because it helps you create relationships between things that you can't see by typing notes. Now, I'm not against typing your notes. I mind map first, and then I sometimes go back and I'll make an outline with the key points and the bullet points and so forth. But start with a mind map. Get used to doodling, drawing pictures. It'll help you. There's great books on it. It was first coined by Tony Buzan 50 years ago. This is nothing new, but this is a great strategy to increase your creativity. It's just a tool. How to do a mind map? You start in the center, and then you make branches, and you look for relationships. And this diagram's in your workbooks, so you don't have to worry about that. Of course, the PowerPoint slides will be on the website also. Here's an example of a mind map. How to create mind maps. Talks about, over here being clear, and over here you can use your PC. They actually have software now that allow you to do mind maps. It's called mindjet.com. If those of you that are doing a lot of mind mapping or you might want to check that website out. MindJet, MINDJET.com. MindJet has software that you can use to create mind maps. You put in your things and you can draw pictures and draw relationships. And one of the best things that mind maps are for is communicating ideas to other people. For those of you in here that want to get your teams all focused in the same direction, all going the same path, it's a great way to have a meeting and have everybody do a mind map. When I do brainstorming, I actually brainstorm doing mind mapping. I mean, I combine the two tools together. So when I'm coming up with ideas, I put the challenge in the center, and then I spar out. Okay, I found some, like some of the things up here, how to have more fun at work. You know, and then you go over here and you say, okay, well, we could do this, this, and this, or we could do this, this, and this, and you start drawing relationships. And then your mind creates it. A lot of people have said to me, oh, my mind is just full. I can't think of another thing. And I got news for you. The more you learn, the more you can earn. The more things you put in your brain, the more experiences you have, the more that you've traveled and read and shared your life with other people, the more you're going to be able to learn. Because that's how your brain works. It makes connections. And if you don't have any pegs to put that information, then you're going to have a real limited view of the world. So it's important that you get out and you experience and do new things. Now, I know you can't read this from back there. I'm not even going to expect you to read it back there. This is a mind map that I did over in Copenhagen 2 weeks ago. One of the challenges I have with one part of the business is we want to earn $35 million in a year. Now, that's a pretty big jump from where we're currently at. So I sat down and I did a mind map. Now, this is much more involved than what you're going to start with. Again, just like driving that car. When I first started, my mind maps were simpler, and now they're more sophisticated. What I did is I started out by asking 3 questions. Why do I want to earn $35 million? What's it going to help? Who's it going to help? Then I went into who is it going to help? And then I went into how. How am I going to do it? So I started with the why, the who, and the how, and then I went in the middle and I broke it out into publicity and advertising and having customers market and the products and advertise. And I did all this stuff to help create the $35 million. Now I have a plan that I can sit down with someone and in 5 minutes I can share with them the whole entire plan versus giving them a 62-page, color inserted, very thick book for them to read. I can give them one vision, and they can kind of see how things relate. Oh, how does free publicity relate to getting customers to market for themselves? And how do you get customers to tell people about your business? And how do you get free publicity? Well, there's internet, and there's this, and I branched it off. So this is an example of a more advanced mind map, but what I'm sharing with you is not a book report. This is stuff I do every day. This is stuff that I use with my business and with my clients all across the country.